With me today is Enzo Raimondo from the Real Estate Institute of Victoria.
Hello.
Greville Pabs from WBP Property Group.
Hi.
And Melissa Opie from Keyhole Property Investments, also known as the Property Lady.
Hello.
Today we're talking about location. Location, location, location. A good property location can make or break a property deal. Enzo, how do you know what a good location is?
Well, generally you need to do your research and then go to an expert. But to inform yourself about what's happening in the marketplace, the RAIB collects all the auction and private sales results, and we publish them in the Age and the Herald Sun each weekend. And if you're tech savvy, you can actually log on and get them on Saturday night and know what's happened in the market that day. But generally, that will give you an idea of what's happening in each suburb, and will show where prices are moving up, where they're moving down, where they're staying stable. Right. And that's always a basic indicator of what's happening in the marketplace.
I think a good location is a location that actually offers diversibility for people. What I mean by that is that if someone's purchasing as an investor, I seriously won't buy a property for one of my clients if their tenant has to walk more than 12 minutes to buy a cafe latte or a glass of wine, because most people today are either time poor or really lazy. And a good location for an owner-occupier really depends upon their own lifestyle. If they have family commitments, if they have young little ones that they wish to reside in that property for some time, they need to look at infrastructure in place such as good quality schools, public transport. So it really depends on what hat I'm buying, whether or not I'm actually purchasing for an owner-occupier or for someone as an investor and they're looking for wealth creation.
Greville, what do you think makes a good location?
I echo Melissa's comments. I like to see it as the village. The villages are very important, particularly in Melbourne. And if you look at, say, Carlton, Lygon Street, or proximity to Ormond Road in Elwood, or Fitzroy Street, St Kilda, it's all about the walking distance to those amenities, the lifestyle, the transport. But you want to be close to some of those things, but you don't want to be right on them. So, for example, you don't want to be too close to a school. Right? You don't want to have all the mums and dads are picking up and they're dropping off. Yeah. So there's congestion. But after school finishes, then there's all the dance lessons and there's the karate lessons and that sort of thing. So whilst it's important to be with walking distance, you don't want to be too close to you. And the same goes with a train station or being on a bus route. You don't want to be affected by the noise pollution that brings, but you want to be close enough that that's great amenity to be able to walk to and get access to.
That's right. And also too, with so many inner city properties now, they're actually only having perhaps only 2 people residing in that. And I think that long gone are the days that a lot of people actually entertain at home and have a dinner party. I don't know when the last time was that everyone here actually had a dinner party. So the restaurants are actually becoming an extension of our own dining room at home.
Yeah. But you're talking about mainly inner city properties. We all already know they're good locations.
That's right. Yeah. However, not in the city itself, but somewhere between 2 to 12k radius.
Yeah.
But not necessarily. You really do have to be careful, even in inner city locations. So, for example, in Richmond, you really don't want to buy south of Swan Street because you've got freeway noise down that end. You've got more industrial down there, which is interspersed with the residential. So you need to be very careful. The boundaries of where people buy. And if you say within Richmond, another example, you don't really want to be too far north of Bridge Road because you've got a lot of one-way streets, you've got a lot of housing commission, and the closer up north you get to Victoria Street, you've got more car parking problems. So even in the inner city there are issues that investors and home buyers need to be aware of.
That's right, isn't it, Enzo? You can have a good block, but you can have bad apartments in that block and good apartments in that block.
Well, there's an old saying, you buy the worst house in the best street. That's probably still holds true today. Location is probably determined by your budget in any event. So if you have a good budget, you can buy in those areas where land is scarce and property values keep going up. But it's really important when you're looking to buy, whether you're an investor or an owner-occupier, what you really, the decision why you're buying that property. If you're an owner-occupier and you love, for instance, Brunswick or St Kilda, because that's where you want to live, well then you'll go buy there. If you're an investor, you'll want the long-term capital growth, and different suburbs behave differently. It's not just generic across Melbourne where you have the one suburb going up 10%, another one going up exactly the same. It doesn't happen. It just, they're so different.
Can I just jump in there? I think location, it's not just about the suburb. It really drills down to the actual street. It might sometimes be what side of the street or what end of the street. So location's a lot of things. And as you said before, Karina, it's about, in a block, there might be only, in a block of 10, there might be only 2 units in that block that might be the type of property that we would recommend clients to buy, because they're going to perform better over time. And that might be in an area where there's security concerns. It could be in St Kilda or Prahran. Always a top floor is perhaps a better choice than a ground floor for security reasons, and also for car noise. You don't want cars driving past or rubbish bins outside the side of your ground floor unit. So quite often those sort of characteristics in the location they really drill down to that micro level.
That's right.
As a valuer though, Greville, how do you, someone doing their research, how do you distinguish between the top floor unit that sold for $10,000 more compared to the ground floor unit that, sold for, a lot less? How do you do that research? How do you know what the price, what premium you should put on that price?
Well, it's all based on Enzo's sales records. We've got a whole database of sales going back 20 years, that we have histories of sales in those particular blocks. So we can actually track the performance of individual units within that block, and we can see that some units, even within the same block, can actually perform better than others. So we have that historical data and that we can use. So when a valuer is going out there, he can do the research on that particular block.
And as a buyer's advocate, we also use the same data, and one of the great things about it is that it actually shows us a floor plan, and it also has photographs of the improvements, if any, that were in that particular unit in the first instance. So we're able to actually go and have a look at comparable properties that have just recently sold, and also inferior and superior ones, and just make a simple adjustment in terms of our methods of how we actually value the properties.
Right, yeah. Melissa, what's some of your favourite locations in Melbourne?
I really believe the western suburbs, because in the past it was really known as the Wild Wild West, and it was also known just for the industry, and you'd almost need a bodyguard to go there if you're going out at the weekend. Whereas now times have seriously changed, and areas such as Yarraville, Seddon, Footscray have become really fantastic locations to actually purchase in.
Well, I'd say if you're looking to just set out to buy in the western suburbs, is probably a good start, especially around Altona. They're starting to move now. If you're bought before and you want to move closer to the city, places like Hawthorn Kew, Balwyn, Canterbury, if you're really wealthy, they'll always go up.
And Greville?
Got a bit of a chuckle at the Wild West comment, but it used to be all about the east versus west.
Yep.
But now in Melbourne, it's about inner and outer.
Correct.
For me, certainly my tips would be Elwood in the inner south, and in the inner east, areas like Prahran.
Thanks very much, everyone.